Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 26th of November. With Robert Murray McShane, we read 1 Peter chapter 3 today. And I was struck by verse 15, which reads, "But in your hearts revere Christ as Lord." A challenge to first century people, where the Romans would have had it drummed into them that Caesar is Lord, and the Jewish people would have had this background of there is only Yahweh as Lord, and Jesus would just be another person. And so this is a step for them. Recognize who Jesus is and recognize that he is Lord. But he continues, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. Always be prepared to give a reason for the hope you have. And that struck me on two levels. The one is that we need to think about why we have hope. We need to think about what we believe about Jesus, why we believe it. Is this just something, well, I was taught this at Sunday school and so I believe it? Or have we actually stopped and considered the evidence and read the scriptures and thought it through? So when somebody says why, we're able to give some kind of answer for that. And so that's always a challenge. We'll never convince anybody by our rational argument. The Spirit convicts people, but we do need to show people that this isn't a blind leap in the dark, but this is a reasonable putting our faith in a reasonable proclamation of the truth. So we need to do that. The second thing that struck me was that as Christians, we are people of hope. And so often I come across Christians who are hopeless. And how often aren't you aware of people sharing bad news? And, oh, this is so terrible, and look at this, and the potholes are here, and the stormwater drains there, and the electricity is here, and this is all that stuff is true. But we live in a fallen world. And certainly if you went to live in Hong Kong, you'd have less political freedom, but better service delivery. And if you were in Liechtenstein or somewhere like that, it might be close to the perfect environment, but it's so expensive no one can afford to live there. But we are where we are, and the world is what it is. But our hope isn't in this world. Our hope isn't that the roads will be perfectly tarred and everything will run smoothly. Our hope is in Christ. Our hope is for eternity. Our hope is that we'll get through this world, we'll survive the world, and we will step into a kingdom where there is no more suffering, no more sadness. There is just joy everlasting. That's our hope. Not because we deserve it, but because Christ loves us. And so we need to be positive people. We need to be people of hope in a world where so often people are hopeless. So be encouraged to recognize the hope we have and to share that hope with a world that's a little bit grey and bleak otherwise. Be challenged and be blessed.